So nikirudi ku address audience yangu nawaambia asanteni sana for being my friends. Watu wako like, wow! And I'm like, what? Nikiangalia bado naona ni picha yangu na Denno. Many photos now, And then at that particular time he comes and kneels down in front of them. Na ni watu na respect, watu my fellow ministers in church hiyo wakati nilikuwa kwa praise and worship na choir. And then he would stand na waeke music, and then he would come and kneel and ask for a proposal in front of all those people. And I felt so honored.
Oh, I saw he dedicated a song to you.
It's good to be loved, and also someone showing that they really love you and also appreciate you publicly. Iyo wenye everyone should see that this is my wife and I'm proud of her. It feels good. Tuko wawili, unamuona yeye. Why would you think that he cannot see you, he can also not hear? I would just want to tell any person who is willing to get in marriage, put God as the center. Be very sincere. Kama unapenda huyo mtu, mpende tu na roho yako yote. Without having other plans. If it doesn't work, what will I do? Because when you have plans, plan A na plan B, utakuanga ever. Sahi hajanunua food, niko na plan B. Sahi hajaweza kulipa fee, niko na plan B. Yeah. But you're supposed to get into marriage where there's no any other plan apart from God and that marriage. Yeah, it shall be sustained.
Very good morning to you and a warm welcome to LNS Rebuilding Series. My name is Lynn Ngugi. Now, majority of you know the husband to my guest today. I mean, his songs have honestly taken us through some moments, and the way he has dedicated his life to God, the way he said, you know what, regardless of what I've been through, I will serve God. But he also speaks very highly of his wife, and they had this glamorous wedding. I mean, their life has been out there documented, but honestly, I have always wanted to have a conversation with the wife just to find out what exactly do you guys go through, not in a negative way, but what has kept your marriage working. And I asked her, what would be the end goal for you on today's conversation before we started? And she said, Lynn, I want to speak to young marriages, and I also want to address being in a marriage with someone who is abled differently. And she's just a vibe. Like, this woman is just good vibes, she's just positive, and I thought we could use that today. But before I do let her introduce herself, I have to say thank you so much to our amazing partners of today's conversation, Kings Developers Limited. Thank you so much for always coming through for our platform. And now they are no strangers on the show, and I've said if you are looking into owning a home with a credible source, why don't you try our friends at Kings Developers Limited. Not only do they have beautiful apartments around the country, but they also have flexible payment plans. So visit them at Prism Towers, a 5th floor, and tell them Lynn ametutuma huku, show us what do you guys have, and invest wisely. Na hakuna pressure. Remember, you can always manifest. You don't have to do it now, but if you're in a position to do it now, then why not? And also to say thank you so much to you guys. We are heading to 1 million subscribers. I promise 1 million subscribers to Tarusha Bashia Thanksgiving, and I hope all of you will attend. But thank you so much. Remember, subscribing is very free. It comes at no cost, and that would be the best way for you to support our platform, because by subscribing, our work gets to be watched by so many people, and also we continue impacting the society one story at a time. And now, without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today introduce herself. Naliaka,
good morning to you, Lynn.
I would nilijua hapa sasa ni mimi Naliaka, but how are you, dear?
I'm okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm fine, I thank God.
Amen.
And it's a great privilege that I'm with you today.
Yeah.
I know this is a platform that really transforms. And I know that I really admire your simplicity.
Oh, thank you.
And your elegance at the same time.
Yeah.
And your compassion.
Oh, thank you.
So it's a great, great honor that I am with you today.
Yes.
And thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So
yes, you can go and introduce yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
My name is Faith Naliaka Karanja. Yeah, I love God.
Yes.
I am born again, and Christ is the rock of my salvation. I am a chef by profession, and I am also, by the grace of God, I am a lay reader in our church.
Yes.
And also I am a mother to 2 wonderful children and a wife to 1 wonderful husband. Yeah.
How is my friend?
He's okay.
Yeah.
Ametuma salamu mingi sana.
Yes.
Yeah, he wished he could have been here today, but akona errands zenye lazima tu
wacha ashughulike.
Yeah.
Wacha ashughulike. Msalimie sana.
Tamsalimia.
I love that guy, you know, like I mean, has even anyone ever said they don't love Denno?
No, he's lovable. Yeah, everyone loves him, and he's a good person.
Yes.
Yeah, he's lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you define him as the wife?
Okay. Oh, I don't know how I would define him, but he's just the excellent, perfect gift that God has ever brought to me. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
How do you define yourself as Faith?
Me? I simply love peace.
Oh,
Yeah.
You love peace.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, they say before someone can appreciate peace, they've gone through something that has made them appreciate peace. Even me right now, I just love peace.
Yeah.
But trust you me, I know what not having peace means. So when I get to experience the little amount of peace,
Yeah.
I feel good. What has made you appreciate peace? Because it's something we take for granted, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I wouldn't say that I've gone through something so hard, but the things also that I've gone through life has really taught me that peace is a very important aspect for someone to have. Sababu I've been born and raised here in Nairobi.
Yes.
By both of my parents, but it came a time where my parents separated, and so partly I was raised by my dad, and also at some point I went back to my mom. So the time that we were with my dad, we were raised by a foster mom because he married after they separated. And that is the period that I really knew that someone can lack peace. And when I came back to my mom, I also learned that someone can really enjoy peace. Yeah.
Good. I love that. You know, the series we are doing right now, our LNN wamekata, they are like, Lynn, we are rebuilding and we are restoring at the same time. So it's dubbed rebuilding and restoration, right? So what are you rebuilding, or what is being restored in your life right now?
Oh, I think I am discovering who I am, and I'm actually appreciating it, because for the longest period of my life, I was just about hanging along somebody else's ideas, somebody else's thoughts. But right now I am rebuilding myself, trying to affirm myself that I can do the things that I can, and to trust in my ideas, and also work upon making myself a better person. Yeah.
Good. As a mom, how are you doing it differently?
As a mom, okay, motherhood is the best journey that one would want to have. And during my first years as a mother, it was really hard kuadjust kutoka kuwa msichana. And now someone is totally like 100% depending on you. Like kama venye umeshazoea kuambia somebody else, ukigrow unaambia mom nataka hii, nataka hii, nataka hii, but this time around it is you answering the questions and being responsible for your children. And it's a journey that someone learns every day. but I desire to become the best mom that my children will have. Yeah.
More grace to you.
Amen.
Yes, let's get into the conversation. You said you want to speak to young marriages and also expound more on being married to some who is abled differently. Why first do you want to address young marriages?
Yeah, because I think it's actually an alarming issue that is happening. Right now, marriages are not standing. Especially hizi zenye ziko na young couples. Marriages are very, very compromising. And it breaks my heart. And I wouldn't say that I am a perfect one. And it's by the grace of God that this is the 8th year now since we got married with my husband. And it's also by the grace of God hatujawahi separate. Sijawahi pack niseme enough is enough. I am going back to my home. Sijawahi pack. And I all attribute it to God. And also, I would want to appreciate our marriage counselors. Before someone gets into marriage, kuna ile class unaendanga ya counseling.
Yes.
Where you speak about yourself, you get to know your partner, and they teach you the things that you would expect in marriage. And so I thank our counselors, Mr. and Mrs. Komen, back in Harvest Center where I was fellowshipping before I got married. They were our marriage counselors and they instructed us so well. And I think through their teachings, they really made us to be strong, irrespective of the waves that comes in with when you're in marriage. And so, given the chance, I would just say that everyone that wants to get in marriage, they should go to that counseling session, so that they can be updated on the expectations that they would want to, the expectation that they will fortunately or unfortunately meet in the journey of marriage. So it's important to watu waende class, wafundishwe, wasikuwe na high expectations, na wasijipoteze wenyewe in the course of marriage, na pia waves zikikuja waweze kusimama. So they taught us a lot, good side and the ugliest side of marriage. And so, yeah.
Good. Tell us about the good side of your marriage.
The good side of my marriage is that you get a companion. You're no longer alone, and you share love. You share love. Una vitu ambazo mnatakol kwa maisha, mnatakol mkiwa pamoja. And kuna ile true love that you have for each other. Kuna ile trust ambayo mmebuild. Na kuna ile the joy of marriage, also the babies that you get. But babies, tulifundishwa, they are not a must. When you get married, you're not allowed to fix your mind that we are getting married to have babies. Tulifundishwa hivyo. Because I've addressed that, because it's one of the reasons as to why marriages are splitting. You get together, mnaoana, mnaona hatupati watoto, and then you start blaming each other. Unaona shida ni wewe, mwingine anasema shida ni wewe, and then
the marriage ends.
Yeah, the marriage ends. So si tulifundishwa, you're not supposed to get into marriage with that expectation that we are going to make babies. Yeah, it's just for companion. Yeah. So me, I've enjoyed in my marriage. I've enjoyed one thing that we have built together with my husband is trust. Trust, of which is a very important aspect that holds a marriage together. So mkiweza kubuild your trust even before you get into marriage, because tulifundishwa before you get into marriage you must court. You must have a courting to know the kind of a person that you're getting in life into. Umjue the worst he can get when he's angry,
and the best
and the best he can do for you. So
when especially angry and hungry. Have you ever seen how men get angry when they are hungry?
Yeah.
When their tummy is empty, the way they get you know, just so angry. But I love that, you know. Honestly, I love the aspect of companionship.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people expect, oh, I honestly did not think about it that way. You think for a family to be complete,
Yeah.
there also have to be kids involved. And if there are not kids, then that marriage is not complete.
Yeah.
But what also have been the worst parts of that marriage?
Okay, of my marriage.
Hey.
Okay, the worst part, I would simply say it is, let me say, luck. Ile mnafika mahali, mnaanza na vibe mzuri, everything is in order. But inafika mahali mnaanza kupanda mlima pamoja, you don't have the required finances to carry on. So hiyo tu ndio imetu affect in some point. But somehow God makes a way. God makes a way na unajikuta tu we are moving together irrespective.
Yeah, how do you handle that? Because again, as we said, kids, also finances are a major part of a relationship. When there is no money, do you look at him and you are like, I wish I married someone else? How do you handle? Honestly, tell us, how have you handled that part?
Okay, for me, during my 5 years in my marriage, I was in the house. I wasn't working. And it's something that I regret. I wasn't working and my husband would provide for everything. Angeenda show, na unajua akienda show inaweza to sustain for like 2 months or 3. Now we would survive like that. But kuna ile time inafika pia yeye mwenyewe hana shows. And hiyo ndio time na feel I should be doing something. And then nika realize nimesoma, naweza put my work into hands. Okay, my
into the work.
Yeah, into the work, and we can help each other. So at some point sijawahi blame, but I've been feeling guilty, why am I not helping? So nilienda nikasomea catering and I got a job. So tunasaidiana. Saa zile hakuna shoes, I'm the one providing. Na saa zile kuko na shoes, we thank God, we help each other together.
Yeah.
But sijawahi feel like I am going to leave him for someone else who has money. I've never felt like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a mistake some women make of having your person just provide?
Yeah, I think it's put in the mind of ladies that men are supposed to be like provide.
But isn't that what the
Okay.
Bible says? I'll be baby girl and sit home the whole day. See, I'm submitting, so you provide.
Yeah, you're submitting, he's providing. Yeah, it's very much in order because it's in the Bible that way. But you are a helper.
Yes.
Yeah, you're supposed to help him.
Yeah.
The Bible says that you came in also as a helper. So when he's doing something and it's kidogo unaona analemewa.
Sinapika. Sina help.
Yeah,
it's
important, but helping as in me, the time I started working, I felt like things are very simple na zinaacha kutulemea pamoja. And that fulfillment of also being a helper inakuja.
Yes.
I feel it.
Good. All right. So, you know, I'm assuming majority of the people that are watching know even the backstory of your marriage and how you met your husband. Apologies for that, my people. But would you take us there? Have like how you met him so that we are able now to understand how have you navigated these 8 years?
Yeah. I first met with my husband in church. He used to come to minister to our church. And fortunately, my best friend, who still is, was his cousin.
Oh, okay.
Her name is Sally,
Yeah.
Salome Wairimu.
Yes.
alikuwa best friend yangu, and at that particular time we were living together. Ilikuwa ile time Madhe ameshaenda ushago and me decided to remain back in Nairobi to work. So we stayed with Sally from church and also pia home tulikuwa tunakaa pamoja. So every time Denno would come over kusalimia Sally, I would get interested to just talk to him. You know, he's everyone's friend. Lynn. Yeah.
It's okay.
Nilikuwa tu naenda namsalimia nini, but saa zile angeenda, I would keep asking Sally, and now this guy, how does he survive? What does he do? Ni aje anaweza kunavigate hivyo na venye haoni? So Sally angenielezea partly, alafu anaacha. But me, I will keep asking. Sasa wanaishi wapi? Na mama yao, as in I would ask so many questions about him, not knowing that on the other side, when Denno ameshaenda, amefika kwao, bado he would call Sally back. Hey, and that your friend, what's her name? What does she do? How is she? As in pia yeye, ana inquire so much about me. So that one I didn't know. Yeah. So Sally is the one who really got offended by the both of us asking so many questions about each other. And then she said that I'm going to invite him over to our place. Nikamwambia no, I didn't say that. Me, I was just asking because I was just concerned. The general concern. Si ati nataka umlete nimuulize. Sally akasema no. The thing is, hata yeye anataka kujua about wewe. So it's much better muulizane.
Mumalize.
And so that is what she did, and she invited him over and he came and we became friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
So muliulizana nini? Hapendi tunanga haraka kwa hicho.
Yeah, we became friends.
Muliulizana nini? Hatusongi, please. The tea must not get cold.
Yeah, we became friends. Na tuliulizana maswali zote zenye tunaweza taka kujua about each other.
Yes.
Yeah, but honestly, I was not in love with him. In as much as I was asking so many questions about him, I wasn't like really admiring him as a husband or something. But it's a journey that I will say it's very divine, and it's orchestrated by God himself. Because during that time, I had an accident on my foot. Yeah, nilikuwa nafanya kazi to a certain company in town, and I had an accident ambayo ilidhuru mguu yangu sana. And that particular time nilikuwa na wound when Denno was coming over to me. Nilikuwa na wound, and ni period ambayo ilikuwa imeni weigh down sana because it was a big wound. Nilioperatiwa, and then nikaenda hospitali nikafanywa skin grafting, ikafail, and then nikafanywa grafting nyingine. Unajua skin grafting ni where one part of your body is being cut to place to another. And then when it fails, another part also is being
cut.
Yeah. So I had a lot of marks in my body. And at some point, I remember I was in pain at night, and I was praying. And nikamaliza tu kuomba, nikaambia tu Mungu tu nipunguzie tu hii uchungu. Kesho ifike niende ni buy painkillers. And sasa tu, it was like a thought that came into my head. Nikajiuliza, anyway, who will ever marry me with all these kinds of marks? Juu bado zilikuwa zina heal, and nikashangaa okay, it's just like a thought that came into my mind. And right there, I felt like almost someone speaking. And it was a voice that told me that whoever will marry you will not see the marks. Yeah. And it's way before now Denno came into my life. It's way before Denno became my friend. So, when now Denno came, that was like 6 months after. And we became friends. And one time he organized a meeting with my friends also in church. and he asked me whether I would want to get into marriage with him. At that particular time is when I remembered the voice that told me that whoever comes in your life will not see the marks. Na unajua at that particular time Lynn, mimi nilikuwa nafikiria ni ile sauti tu ina comfortingi mtu ndio ama labda ni jisaik ama whoever will come my way will see the marks but will not worry about
the marks.
But sasa hiyo point wakati aliniuliza will you want to get into marriage with me, I remembered and I knew it's actually God speaking. That is why whatever we will go through with my husband, I will never separate because I know God has placed us together. And that is why I call my marriage divine. Yeah.
That's powerful. That's powerful. So if you are not in love with him, how then do you begin to fall in love with him?
I think it's all God's. Because when he asked me that question, nili feel so much honored that someone who cannot even see me, can trust that I would walk with him in marriage. And mimi hapo saizo venye aliniuliza nilisema kwanza unipe time, but within me I was just talking to myself and I was like, whoever will marry me, I will love them back with all of my heart. And hata hiyo period yenye tulikuwa friends, Denno ni ule mtu mwenye akona story mob, mko tu hamjuani but una feel like if this guy I know him for a long time because he's friendly, he's very trustworthy, he's sincere, kama amekasirika tu atakuonyesha amekasirika. And so I just started appreciating these values in him and I ended up loving him so much. Yeah.
I love that. And then mukasema sasa, let's take it a step further.
Yeah.
Were you not scared of what will people say? Did people say anything?
Yeah, I was very much scared. Especially, I knew my mom. She's a very tough woman and may her soul rest in peace. She was a no-nonsense person. Hakukuwa anataka tujihusishe na mambo ya vijana before the right time. And also, nilikuwa na ile worry ya nikimwambia that I want to get into marriage with someone who cannot see. Nilikuwa tu najua reaction yake probably it will discourage me. But when I called her one day and told her that, Mom, I'm now in a relationship and I want to get married. Akaniambia, you've got a person? And I told her, yes. But I must say that I want to tell you something. Akaniambia niambie. Nikamwambia ni mtu ambaye hana uwezo wa kuona. And then she was silent for some time. Akaniuliza ni accident alipata ama alizaliwa hivyo. Nikamwambia ni mtu hana uwezo wa kuona na ni from childbirth, si accident. And then whatever she said really calmed my heart and I knew that it is God. Knowing the kind of a person she is and what she would want for me, niliona tu hiyo jibu tu yenyewe ni Mungu. It was a second affirmation that God really wants me to be in this. So she told me that kama umeamua ni huyo na umempenda, basi Mungu awabariki. So kenye tu utafanya ni upange, umlete huku hata mimi nimuone. So that one was just enough for me.
It was an affirmation.
Yeah, I took it as an affirmation. Yeah.
What did friends say?
Friends, I didn't have many of a problem with friends. But kuna ile tu watu wanashanga, are you so serious? Are you? But majority, maybe kwa online sasa, ndio nilipata clash kidogo because people were telling us, sasa hawa wanatuwekea wedding ya nini na after 2 months itavunjika. We know Kenyan ladies, they're just there for fame. They're just pesa ya Denno ikiisha, huyu dem ataenda. So hapo tu ndio nilipata clash, but fortunately I'm not very active in the social media. So my friends are the ones who are
telling you.
Yeah, they were the ones who are telling me at the same time defending me that Fei tunamjua, Fei she's good nini. But hapo tu ndio nilipata clash kidogo and a few of my relatives.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you survived.
Yeah.
You know, but we focus on the positive, and then came this beautiful wedding. Sorry. You've mentioned something important that people would think because Denno is the celebrity.
Yeah.
After his money is over, you two will exit. Why do you think we have that perception, especially in the Kenyan context?
Yeah, because that perception is built because it's actually happening. It's happening. We wouldn't deny. Kuna ile unaona people are getting into marriage because of what you can really offer. You can give me fame, you can give me money, well, we are good together. But when the rubber meets the road, hauna ile nini ya kusustain.
Yes.
Watu wana separate. When the money is not there and the fame is not there, unaona kama hiyo ndio ilikuwa basis ya marriage, people separate. Yeah.
Okay, how was the proposal?
The proposal. I must say it was very strategic.
Okay.
Yeah, it was very strategic. I've mentioned wakati alikam kwa life yangu nilikuwa na wound. And at that particular time, my friends back in church ndio walikuwa wananisaidia. They would do an harambee, wananiambia sasa we shika ido enda utibiwe mguu. And in my heart I felt like, gosh, they have come through for me so many times. Because ilikuwa mguu, ilikuwa na shida. So in my heart I felt that one day if I make it in life, I will appreciate all these guys because wamenisaidia sana. So a time came while we were still courting, akaniuliza, what would you want me to do for you? Kashangaa hiyo. Sijaiulizwa hivyo. Yeah, and so mimi nikakuwa tu sincere nikamwambia naweza penda kuorganize lunch kwa church, niite my fellow youths na niwa appreciate for how helpful they have been. Hivyo tu. So akaniambia hivyo tu, that one consider it granted. Akaniambia but now juu mimi kuna kitu nataka kutengeneza na nataka kuadvertise kwa watu, mimi nitakuorganizea wewe uite rafiki zako na mimi nichukue hiyo audience yako ni advertise whatever I want to do. So nikamwambia that's a deal. It's very much okay because whatever you're advertising, it's also church oriented. Si kitu yenye kanisa inaweza kataa.
Yes.
So I organized my group. Nikasema sasa tutapika hivi and then after service I will have this group of people to appreciate na nikawatumia letters hizo za kualika kwa that meeting.
Yes.
And so they came. So hapo kwa hiyo meeting pia yeye alikuwa. Na unajua alikuwa ameniingisha box, I don't know why, I did not understand. Aliniambia whatever it is I will use a laptop and a projector. So please niorganizie. And because in our church we had, I went and asked Pastor Ben unisaidie na projector na naweza taka kuitumia for this afternoon and then we will return it. And why not? Wakanipatia projector, watu wakakula. Sasa ile moment yangu ya kusimama kusema sasa, now guys, the reason as to why I have called you is this. Hapo sasa ndio mambo ilikuwa ili happen.
Yes.
So I go to the front and I start telling people, good afternoon everyone. This is the time that God has made and I want to thank each and every one of you. Na sasa watu wako wanaangalia kwa projector, they are like, wow. And I'm like, nikiangalia kwa projector naona ni picha yangu. Yes. Na ya Denno. And I'm like, we? So the guy who was at the projector pia ni rafiki yetu and he happens to know the journey that we have together because he was very close to Denno. He was his friend. He still is his friend. So mimi I would apologize on behalf of him. Namwambia tu ngojea kidogo nimalize and then sasa mta connect whatever you're connecting. So nikirudi ku address audience yangu nawaambia asanteni sana for being my friends. Watu wako like, wow. And I'm like, what? Nikiangalia bado naona ni picha yangu na Denno. many photos now, and I would apologize again and start addressing my audience. And this time around, they're like, wow, they're even standing up and clapping.
Yes.
And then at that particular time, he comes and kneels down in front of them. Na ni watu na respect, watu, my fellow ministers in church, hiyo wakati nilikuwa kwa praise and worship na choir. And also very great people that I respect so much, walikuwa hapo.
Yeah.
Na bado sikukuwa nimewabreakia news that I am in a relationship. And so I was like very nervous. Why? What is happening? Kwa nini picha zangu na zake tu ndio zinakuja instead of whatever he wants to advertise? And then he would stand na waeke music, and then he would come and kneel and ask for a proposal in front of all those people. And I felt so honored.
Oh,
yeah.
it was beautiful.
It was very, very beautiful. And everyone was clapping, everyone was happy. It was nice.
And of course, after the proposal comes now the wedding.
Yeah.
You guys had a very beautiful wedding. I saw it.
Yeah.
It was broadcasted for people. How was that day for you?
Very delightful.
Oh.
Very, very delightful. Yeah, it's something that I remember. I look at the photos and I really enjoy. Yeah.
Good. You have gone to butterflies.
During wedding?
Eh.
Yeah, nilikuwa natuo, but twa furaha.
Good.
Yeah, twa furaha na ile feel that it's a desire of many young women coming up that I would want to do the necessary steps that are required for me to get into marriage, whereby you court, you get engaged, and get into marriage. And for me, hata nikiwa hapo kwa church nilikuwa nashukuru Mungu, because many would desire but it wouldn't happen. And I felt like God really loved me as a person to grant me such an honor that I would get married. Also in a wedding. Unajua hadi ushago una respecti wangu, huyu aliolewa na harusi. And I'm saying this that it's just by the grace of God. Yeah.
Good. Huh? You looked really beautiful.
Thank you.
Alikuwa handsome pia. Both of you looked really nice. But then there is a wedding and then a marriage.
Yeah.
Right? You have your big day. You've done all those necessary steps, and then comes now reality.
Yeah.
Was what you ordered what you received?
As in during the wedding?
See, you have ordered now a very good man. Is that what you received at home? How was it at home?
Yes. Sasa adjust. I think hapo ndio inaletanga hiccups in very young marriages, and they break because considering that this person may meet tu mkiwa wakubwa. You've met when you have already grown, raised up in different backgrounds and maybe beliefs and preferences. Na mna come together, una come to realize after a certain point of time, this person is actually this way. Unakuja ku realize kuna tu vitu twenye anafanya hatukufurahishi. Na probably wewe pia kuna vitu zenye unafanya without any bad intentions na pia hazimfurahishi. So without having God being this the foundation of your marriage, hapo ndipo huwa ina break. So for me, I have said that God has held us together. And also premarital counseling ili lower zile expectations zenye tulikuwa nazo, zikaiziweka zikuwa reasonable, not like really lowering them ile mpaka unajisahau, but it was reasonable.
Okay. And of course, I know, after that part, I think it was a couple of years back, we woke up, Denno is not doing well, you guys are struggling. Was that true?
Yeah. Yes. And what I would want everyone to understand that this is a part of life to everyone, not only celebrities. It's unfortunate that on cameras, when you are famous, unaonyesha tu the good side of life, how you have hacked, how you have achieved, but the day-to-day challenges we will not see on cameras. But in real sense, it happens to everyone. Not only the celebrities, even the normal people, even the bank accountants, even ata pastors, whichever profession you're in, kuna ile time when you're at your peak, kuna ile time you are at your low season. And I have seen Denno being at his peak and also at his low season. So as I speak of us going through that series of a low season, I'm speaking it in general and making the audience know that it can happen to everyone. And it's not a reason for you to part ways. It's a reason for you to sit down and think.
Stick together.
Stick together even the more, and even find a solution together. Yeah.
As a man, how did he deal with that? Because it must have been devastating for him. People know him to be this fame. And this is the problem. And I love what you said. People need to understand that celebrities are not gods and they don't have it the easiest way, you know.
Yeah.
I could easily be facing the same things that you're facing. But I gotta show up at my job because I say, this job is the way a doctor shows up at work, a lawyer shows up at work, a teacher shows up at work. I gotta show up. But then also I can't fault the public because celebrities are also giving the public an image that does not exist. They want to show the public they have it all figured out. Life is good. Honestly, sometimes half of the time life is not good.
Yeah.
Life is not good. You come, you do this one, then you remove your shoes and then you go and you're like, wow, guy, Jesus, life is hard, you know.
Yeah.
But then you have to be able to show people the both sides, this side and that side. But then again, as I said, for a man, it must have been devastating. He's Denno, you know, mbona, you know, people like, he's great, he's an artist, he must have the money.
Yeah, and that is the perception that everyone has. Ata sometimes tukitembea na yeye, hamuna do ya kufuel, mnaenda mnapanda matatu, watu wanasema, Denno, unafanya nini hapa? And yeye, it was devastating for him. But he's that person who knows how to react around it. As in, I wouldn't say he fell into depression because he's a very cheerful person when he has or when he doesn't have. Na sio ule mtu ambaye atafake. Sio ule mtu ambaye ataenda akope pesa kwa banka kuja kufurahishe. Kama hakuna atakwambia tu hakuna. And that is something that I really appreciate as a person. Someone who is truthful. That now we don't have, this is what we are going to do. Than ule mtu ambaye anaona mimi nasifiwa huko nje, I have a big name. So I have to do this to match up with what people are expecting me to be. No, he is not that person. Kama tunatembea, tutatembea pamoja. Kama ni matatu, tutapanda pamoja. Kama hadi street food, he can eat that and laughing. I think apart from singing, he also have a talent of laughing. He can really laugh. He can really laugh. He can really talk. He's a very joyful person. Whether he has it or not, you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And also one of the things I know you dislike is when people see you together and then they tell you, Salimia Denno. Like,
yeah.
Why does that affect you?
It affects me because tuko wawili, unamuona yeye. Why would you think that he cannot see you, he can also not hear? So unaweza tembea na yeye unasikia mtu anamwambia, salimia Denno sana. And then yeye mwenyewe anasema, mimi nimegoteka. Anakuonyesha nimesikia. It's good that ukuje unisalimie, uniambie Denno ni aje. So okay, I wouldn't judge anyone because I think people have wako tu na kauoga wanakuanga nayo when they meet people with disability. So siezi wa judge sana ama kukasirika, but kuna ile inclusivity enye mimi as a person I would want these people to have in the society, because in as much as they are for example unable to do something the way you can do it, it doesn't mean that they are totally disabled. In fact, mimi nikijiangalia, if I compare myself with him, he has so many things that I don't have. Zenye anaweza fanya mimi nijiambie in that space, then I am disabled. Then he is abled. Because kila mtu hata ambaye hana miguu, ambaye hana uwezo wa kusikia, there is something great in them. There is something that they will do better than you who seem to be whole cannot do. So hiyo inclusivity ndio mimi as a person I would want these people to be given. Yeah.
Do you think we feel so sorry for them, like haezi fanya hii, you even whisper when you are around them? I feel like we should just be real around them.
Yeah, be real and be sensitive. Be sensitive in a way that unafaa ujue, like, I don't know, sijui, I think I have also learned, being his wife, I've also learned so many things that concerns disability. Na nimejua how to best handle them. Sababu given not the chance to be with him, probably hata mimi ningekuwa victim wa kufanya venye the society huwa inafanya. But now that I have the chance, I would also want to address the society to treat these people as people who are able differently, not disabled. Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've learned that we could benefit from when it comes to treating the people who are able differently?
Kama for example, mtu ambaye akona disability, as they say, akienda kutafuta kazi ama nini, they disqualify them. Wanawa disqualifying, yani tu with appearance peke yake. Until ujiprove sana that you can do it, ndio utapata chance. Na kuna ile, like for example, I can give a good example. Kuna time alikuja home akaniambia, walishuka gari wakiwa tu na beshte yake, and then they walked into a restaurant. Na hiyo restaurant ilikuwa na guard hapo nje. Na huyo guard aliwatreat vibaya. Na aliwaambia, this is not a place to come and beg. Isi place yenye mnafaa kukuja kubeg. And they were actually getting into the restaurant to have lunch. They were not going to beg. So alikuja akaniambia he was so devastated with how the guard treated them. Na nikashangaa, why would he think that people who are disabled cannot sustain themselves, or they cannot provide for themselves? So that is just one of the example. But I know there are so many other people who are even seeking employment to companies, but simply because ako kwa wheelchair, utamnyima hiyo opportunity. Simply because una feel haoni, unaona hata deliver. But it's something that really needs to be looked upon because they are abled. They are abled.
And they are good to go.
Yeah.
Like we should do away with the self-pity na kila kitu.
Yeah.
Yes, career, what are you working on?
Career-wise,
Apart from catering, you guys together.
Yeah, me, I am a professional chef.
Yes.
Yeah, I have studied hot kitchen, cold kitchen, pastries. Na sasa bado na advance.
Beautiful.
Na advance. I'm now working, and I thank God.
Okay. Him, what is he doing?
Him, yeah, apart from being an artist, he does so many things. Now he's in an organization enye wana offer mentorship for young children and also the young children who are living with disabilities. So wanaenda wana offer mentorship na wana providea the basic needs. Like food, shelter, clothing, and also assistive devices za kuwa aid in their disability.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Na pia ako kwa projects za, kama for example in April, ako na hiyo ya, they are headed to a prison also, just to encourage and to mentor them.
Good.
Yeah.
I love that. Huh?
Yeah.
I love him. He's just a free spirit. He's just good vibes, free spirit, energy nayo ukweli yako nayo. He's energetic, you know.
Yeah.
But if you could give us like a few tips. You said premarital counseling, the PMC. What else do you think has made your marriage work? Oh, and also, I can't let you go before asking the most famous question. How do you submit to him? To answer your submission.
Okay, submission. Submission is something that needs to come willingly from you. And I must say it's discipline. Discipline really plays a very big role for you to become a submissive person. Because I have seen young marriages breaking because a wife probably is earning more than the husband. And so hiyo nini ya submission inakuwa inalegea. Simply because if I am doing this and you cannot, why should I submit? But submission is discipline. And it's very intentional as a wife to know that he is the head irrespective of what he cannot do. Because God has created hiyo order ikuwe yeye ndio ako juu alafu wife and then watoto. So ukijua your position in marriage, you wouldn't have a problem with submission irrespective of the abilities that you have, and he doesn't. You will still lower yourself and keep yourself where you ought to be. Yeah.
Ukijua your position in marriage.
Yeah.
I love that. Huh? Give us the tips. What has made yours work?
I think it's God. First of all, ni Mungu.
Amen.
When you put God as the center of your marriage, anakufunzanga vitu zenye hata we mwenyewe huwezi sema naweza stand hiyo. Because in that premarital class we are like 4 couples wenye tulikuwa tunafunzwa pamoja na tulikuwa kwa church moja, and I thank God the group is still there.
Good.
Na we usually meet twice a month, na huwa tunakuja tunaongelelea the issues that we face in our different marriages. And unakuta hawa couples they are going through this, hawa wengine they are going through this, na hawa wengine pia they are going through something else that is a challenge. So when we come together, when we speak about the challenges, sometimes inakuanga tough, ni ile una feel me I'm not going, mi siendi kwa sababu I feel like separating with my guy. But when we meet like once in 2 months, we encourage each other, tunawafundisha, tunakumbushana what we learned in class. So me, I would just want to tell any person who is willing to get in marriage, put God as the center. Be very sincere. Kama unapenda huyo mtu, mpende tu na roho yako yote, without having other plans. If it doesn't work, what will I do? Because when you have plans, plan A na plan B, utakuanga ever. Sahi hajanunua food, niko na plan B. Sahi hajaweza kulipa fee, niko na plan B. Yeah. But you're supposed to get into marriage where there's no any other plan apart from God and that marriage. Yeah, it shall be sustained. Because hata sisi wenyewe siwezi sema I am perfect. There are some things that mi naangalenga nasema if it were not for God, mi ningekuwa nimeenda. Yeah.
How do you deal with the miscommunication? How do you solve your disagreements?
We just speak. We speak to each other. Tuna speak over. Tuna agree. Hata kama tutamaliza siku 2 sijamuongelesha, yeye ananga hizo, ukiniongelesha usiniongelesha mi bado nitaongea. He has that gift. So mimi ndio ule, I think we are very compatible to each other because he's an extrovert and I am introverted in some way. So mimi ni ule nikikasirika nitanuna, nikae ninyamaze for 2 days. Good. But he will talk to you whether you like it or not. He will make you just laugh. That is something that I just love about him.
Yes.
Even in that miscommunication or in that hiyo kitu mmekasirikiana, he will still find a joke to make you come back to a consensus with him because ni lively. Yeah.
Yes, I saw he dedicated a song to you. Ukakuwa ka video girl. You were slaying, you were looking beautiful. How was that like?
Baby, nakupenda.
It was nice. It was nice. It's good to be loved and also someone showing that they really love you and also appreciate you publicly. Iyo wenye everyone should see that this is my wife and I'm proud of her. It feels good. it feels good.
Yes, you looked really beautiful. It was such an amazing song, guys. Go watch if you've not watched. But before I let you go, I want to touch on your business a little bit. Because I love when we come. I know you did not ask me to, but you do catering, you do all this. Is it your business, and how can people support that part of your work?
Yeah, I was venye nilimaliza shule nilikuwa nafanya I was doing it as a business. Nilikuwa naenda na bake cupcakes, na bake donuts, and then I would supply, na nikakuwa na challenge kidogo. So right now I'm employed.
Okay.
I'm employed, but it's a goal for me to have my own restaurant, or rather a bakery. Juu nilikuwa nimeadvance sana kwa pastries. So but right now I'm nime-employed.
Okay. And that too will serve its purpose.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in future it's a desire that I have, that I will have my own.
Okay. Can you do tiramisus? I love tiramisus. You can do tiramisus.
Yeah.
I love tiramisus. I hate chocolates. I just love tiramisus, you know. Yes, and I know that too will come to pass.
Yeah.
Yes, so I hope in his own time he makes things beautiful, you know. But before I let you go and ask you to do a special message to someone, is there anything you think we've touched on that you need to address before we go? No. Tuko sawa.
Tuko sawa.
Kabisa. All right. So maybe looking at this camera, I know Denno will be listening to this conversation. What would you want him to know?
I just want him to know that I really feel so honored that I have him as my husband, and I will forever submit to him. Najua wakati mwingine huwa tunaangalia parents wetu, sometimes they are sitting under a tree and taking a cup of tea, and they are old and they look beautiful together. So huwa nawaangalia, namwambia mom na dad, it's a desire that we have, both of us together, to sit under a tree, old, and just making stories together forever.
Yes.
Yeah, I love him so much. Yeah.
Good. What would you want your kids to know about their parents?
That by the grace of God, they have the best parents ever, and that we love them both so much. The firstborn is Shiro, Alisa Wanjiru. She's 6 years. And the second one is Andy Njoroge. He's 2. And tunawapenda sana. Na as God enables us, we will desire to raise them according to ways that are pleasant to God. And we will desire that they will not be taken away by the things of the world. Tunaweza tu desire kuwa raise in a godly way, that they will impact the society in a brilliant way. Yeah.
I love that. You are so positive. We needed that today. We needed your beautiful, you're beautiful. Faith, you are such a beautiful energy.
Thank
you know, and I pray that may God answer all the prayers, the ones you say in public and the ones you also say in private. May all your heart desires towards your family come true. Amen. And you've really encouraged us, like there's just something about you that is very positive. I love your mindset. I love the way you've taught yourself how to talk to yourself and about yourself. That's my take home. There's just this very beautiful, like sikuchochi najua umeambiwa, like God's word can be seen through you. Like imagine I can just see you and just feel at peace, like you bring energy yenye iko peaceful. So continue doing that. Continue talking to people. You don't know how many people will be listening, but I can tell you there are many people. But if someone is watching and maybe not even their marriage, but whatever it is they are working on is not highlighting. No, people are going through a lot.
Yeah.
marriage, work, parenting, motherhood, na kuna tu kitu ileti, what would you want to tell them as you're parting shot, and also how can people find you?
Yeah, okay. Okay, addressing that, mi naweza sema Mungu anasaidianga mtu kuhack. Like when I started working, I told you that I'm also in ministry.
Yes.
So I'm expected to be in church on Sunday to do what I passionately love doing, serving God. I'm supposed to be a parent back at home and to be a submissive wife, to do everything that my children would want me to do for them. And I also want to work and make money to provide also. And sometimes inafikanga mahali unaona ni kama high balance. Unajiuliza niwache gani, nifanye gani. Both of them are very, very important. So Mungu anasaidianga mtu kuhack. Hata mimi sahi, it's something that I'm really struggling with, because I'm expected to be very early at work. And unajua in hospitality industry kupata hiyo time during weekends, Friday, Saturday and Sunday, it's actually a blessing. But now unakuta Sunday ishafika, kuna vitu zenye unafaa kukua umeshafanya before Sunday, unafaa kuenda practices na nini, haujafanya. Family ndio hiyo, you need time with them. Unatokanga mapema, unarudi late, you need time with them. But it's something that I'm also adjusting pole pole, but I believe if you're really intentional of planning and doing all that, there's a way.
There's a way.
Yeah, there's a way.
God usaidia watu kuhack.
Yeah.
All right. How can people find you?
I'm not very active in the
social media, ama tuende phone number.
People can find me. Okay, my contacts. Phone number ni 0721 765 767. Kwa Instagram najiita tu Faith Karanja.
Okay.
Na kwa Facebook najiita Feinash.
Feinash.
Hiyo nilifungua kitambo.
Feinalia.
Yeah, but I'm
Dama yako ya Facebook ni nani? Dama ule demo. Scholar yako ilikuwa Scholar the cool chick. Ni Scholar the cool chick. Ya Muga ni Muga wa kuku. But Muga the chicken lover. But ati say what?
Feinash. Hiyo nilifungua kitambo nikiwa
mimi nimekuwa I think na ine. Lynn Hailey Jagleski. I swear. That is the only one I can die. You know, I used to watch this series. One Tree Hill. Those who have watched One Tree Hill. And there used to be this guy. He was called Jake Jagleski. Sasa mimi, and since I used to love Hailey also. Sasa nikasema hapa Facebook, sasa nijiite tu Lynn, then Hailey, then because I have a crush on Jagleski, nijiite Lynn Hailey. What was your Facebook name? You know, saa ingine Facebook inakuletea memories, unashindwa, is this me? Mi hata kuna saa yenye inaniambia memories nafungua kama nimedelete. Unajiuliza, is this me? You know, mpaka kuna ingine niliona juzi, I think ni ya 13 years, nimeuliza watu, where do broken hearts go? I'm so broken right now. Alafu unajua right now wenye unaandikia watu ni gani? Anyways, Feinasha, bado uko hivyo.
Bado tu niko na hiyo account ya kitambo.
Wanaweza kupata hapo.
Wanaweza nipata tu hapo.
Sawa, continue.
Yeah.
You've made us laugh.
Yeah.
Asante, shukran. Faith, salimia beshte yangu sana. And may God continue blessing the both of you.
Amen.
I can't wait to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
But before nikuachilie, sasa ya mwisho kabisa, your favorite song from him ni gani?
Okay, apparently it's quite opposite to the public.
Yes.
When he sings worship.
Yeah.
Na there's a song alimba Jehovah inaitwa Pokea Sifa.
Yeah.
That's the song that really speaks to me. Yeah.
Hebu tuimbie kidogo.
We?
Bye my people. Stakufanyia hiyo kitu. Stakufanyia hiyo kitu. You know, mwambie atutolee pia worship, but in his own time. You know, sometimes I also see the pressure from the audience to have someone tutolee wimbo.
But he's doing a new project.
He's working on a new project.
Yeah.
I'll be right here to tell people about it. Akishafanya, he'll come and we'll talk about it. But in the meantime, Salim here, thank you for visiting us. Thank you for being incredible. Thank you for being positive. That was amazing.
Thank you so much.
And I hope people have learned something. And guys who are watching this from any place, your place of work, the gym, I see you are all demanding audio versions of this conversation. I can tell you the team is working on that, but you know the drill. On the comment section, do let me know what your take home is. And also, if you want to get hold of Faith, her contact details are right here on the screen and pinned on the comment section. A lot of positive vibes on today's conversation, and I hope your mind is at peace. I hope you can stand still. You know, I must stay still and just know he's God and he's got you. You know, just stay still. I know there is a lot of noise and a lot of things going on, but stay still and know that he's God, you know. And also to give a huge shout out, of course, to our incredible partners at Kings Developers Limited. Thank you for always coming through. We appreciate it. And I say, if you are looking into owning a home, or if you are looking into getting a property with beautiful amenities, a flexible payment plan, they have affordable, they have medium range, they have upper. Why don't you try them, guys, and let me know? You can also always send me your feedback, info@lnn.digital, or any concerns. But I love the journey we are walking together. They're incredible people. I love when we go for brainstorming and our meetings, and I see you guys, you are getting those apartments. Get something if you are able to. Na hakuna pressure at all. And also the amazing team that gets to put this work together. Shukran sana. Special shout out. Hey, Nalianka umenikeanga, but special shout out, of course, to Dama for producing this beautiful episode. Keep you guys keep a watch. Dama is going to surprise a lot of people someday. I can feel it. So keep supporting us as we expand. We don't take your support for granted. And if you want to share your story with me as well, you know where to find me. info@lnn.digital. I see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bye-bye.